Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Stephanie Gelman. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the product manager of our online leads program, Smart Lead. Now, today we have two wonderful special guests. We have Mike Kaw with Royal LePage Wheeler GM in Chilliwack, BC, and Todd Foote with Royal LePage Atlantic Homestead from St. John's, Newfoundland. Both of these offices have been integrating their own leads into Smart Leads, and today they are here to share their experience with us. So as you can see, some people are using the chat function right now. You can enter questions into the chat function anytime, but I will let you know we will have a specific Q&A time for the guys. But in the meantime, introduce yourself, tell us where you are joining us from. Okay, so here's our agenda. This is what we will go over. So before we get started with the guys, I'm just going to go over a few Smart Leads updates, let you know what is new with the system right now. I'm also going to talk about, well, why you want to integrate your own leads into Smart Leads. Mike will talk, then Todd will do a Q&A chat. We'll do a Q&A chat, and then we'll talk about how to integrate your own leads into Smart Leads. Now, all right. So I see that somebody wrote in the chat that they can't hear. I think I'm fairly certain all the sound is working, but can someone else just confirm to me that they can hear? Because I just heard myself in my own ear. So Desmond, maybe can you just type in there and let me know if you can hear me? Okay. So we'll do the Q&A chat with the guys, and then we will talk about how to integrate your own leads into Smart Leads. Okay, perfect. So I'm getting confirmation that the sound, it was off for a bit. Okay, sorry about that. There was a bit of a technical issue, but that's okay. It's just the agenda. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so here's something new that you may have seen when, well, mostly this is agent facing. When they're accepting a lead, there's some new tabs. So there's a lead info tab that's going to contain all the contact details, and this is after the agents accept the lead. So there's a tab that has all the lead info. Then there's also a feedback status tab. So this is where the agent can confirm if they've reached out to the lead. And then they have another tab where they can message the admin. So that would be to your office catch-all. So let your agents know about this and encourage them to use the feedback and the message admin functionality, because that's just going to allow you and your catch-all to know more about how things are going. All right. You'll also see when you log in that the dashboard has been updated, and this is beautiful. I love this new dashboard. So this is going to give you a nice summary of response times, acceptance rates, how many leads are going into the catch-all, and just summarize. I blanked out the names because this is real stats, but it would here have the agent's name. So this is really good, makes the dashboard extremely user-friendly now. Another new feature is a mapping feature. So this is with your agent set up. You can do a feature to assign them a lead area. So instead of just relying on FSA tags or town tags, you can now do sort of a circumference. This is the area that my available agent works in. So if you need a hand with this, if you want to play with this, manual adjustment of areas, I will encourage you to contact customer care. They will help you out with that. And I'll put up their info at the end. Okay. Now, this other thing that you're going to see is a real-time lead map. So the real-time lead map is pretty fabulous because it's going to show you, and this is accessible under your dashboard, just under where it says welcome. And what you're going to be able to do is you will you'll be able to click on it, and then you see the geographic location of all the Royal LePage leads your brokerage has received. Green means they've been accepted, red ones are sitting in catch-all, and a blinking blue one is a brand new one. And then if you click on the dot, you'll see the lead ID as well as the name of the agent who accepted it. And then the lead ID is linked to the lead dashboard. So if you click on it, you'll be brought to that leads detail within your company's lead dashboard. And then you can see here the lead dashboard looks a little different. If you've gone in there, you may have noticed that you'll see these little people sometimes. And basically for any lead that hasn't been accepted yet, if nobody had accepted it yet, then you would see it would be blank. But now these ones are in progress. And basically it just shows you how many people have been offered the lead. So we can see the first one here was offered to 2, 4, 6 agents. The third one was offered to 1. And this last one with the little triangle caution sign means that it is a distributed lead that's landed in catch-all. And this is basically bringing your attention to the fact that your lead manager should be actioning this one as soon as possible. All right. And the last update, and this one is not 100% finished. We're still working on some tweaks. But when you see a catch-all lead that you receive, it's going to look a little different from before. And basically what we're working on is a way for the catch-all to manually assign or forward a lead to an agent. So stay tuned. I'm going to encourage you to not try to manually assign them just yet. It's still being tweaked. So for now, if you get a catch-all one, either just accept it or leave it alone to let the agents re-queue and re-accept. But I am going to get you supplemental info and then I will email it to you with all the details about how to do that. Now, okay, so enough with the updates. Let's get into the meat of this webinar, and that's about integrating your own leads into Smart Leads. So at 82 cents per lead, integrating your own leads into Smart Leads is very affordable. You can charge your agents the same for your website leads as you do for your Royal LePage distributed leads. And therefore, you can easily generate more income because your ROI will be higher simply from the process of distributing leads. Now, another great reason to integrate is to add to your lead volume. There's sort of a general rule of thumb is to assign 1 agent for every 50 leads you expect to receive annually. Now, the reason for this is to allow the agent to receive enough leads that they can convert some. We know the typical conversion rate is about 2% for online leads. So therefore, if 1 agent receives 50 leads in a year, they can expect to close at least 1. Now, this, of course, is based on typical behavior. With best practices, agents can reach 4 to 6% or even higher. Nevertheless, we will generally recommend 50 leads per agent. So maybe you have so many agents interested in getting online leads, but the volume that Royal LePage is supplying to you isn't enough. The easiest solution is to bring in your own leads. So even though it's so easy, right now, only 4% of the leads that are going through Smart Leads are broker leads from 14 brokerages across the country. Now, I'm not sure why more brokerages haven't taken advantage of this great opportunity. Maybe you're just waiting to know more about it. So if your office is not integrating its own leads, I'd like to know why. If you could put that in the chat box, let us know why you haven't done it. And if you are integrating your own leads, tell us from which site. Okay, so our first guest today is Mike Kah. He's the owner, business manager with Royal LePage Wheeler Cheam Realty in Chilliwack, BC. His primary role at the office is recruiting and training new agents. Now, Mike is happily married with 2 kids and 1 dog. He has a BA of Computer Information System and a BA of History and Political Science. Previous to joining Royal LePage, he was self-employed and he specialized in EMR systems and billing for medical doctors. He also worked for Microsoft Games as a technical trainer and project manager. Welcome, Mike.
Hello, how is everyone doing today?
Fabulous. Yeah, we have a good group with us today, and people are looking forward to hearing all about how things are working out.
Excellent.
For your office. So let's get into it. Can you tell us why you decided to add your own leads into Smart Leads?
One of the main reasons we decided to do that was we were trying to use it as a recruiting tool, and we were just finding that Royal LePage wasn't giving us enough leads to distribute to all our new people plus our veterans. So we needed to find a new way of getting more leads into the system.
Fabulous. So, were you capturing leads before we introduced Smart Leads to the network?
We were contemplating it. We did our research and our due diligence, but we were in the midst of deciding which back end to use to distribute these leads. But then Royal LePage came out with their own using Lead Assign, so it was only a natural fit, really.
Fabulous. So it was good timing. Why not just hand out these leads manually and just kind of forward an email to people the old-fashioned way of doing things?
We were kind of we were kind of contemplating that at one point, really, because we couldn't decide on what to really use. We needed a real way of tracking and keeping people accountable for the leads, and just emailing and forwarding leads to people. It would have been a nightmare to manage. So we needed some kind of a back end in order to keep track of all this. Yeah, that's one of the big reasons, really.
Fabulous, fabulous. So let's talk about what kind of leads you guys are using. So you told me that you're currently using an agent locator site, and here's a screenshot of the landing page. Can you tell us a bit about this site and what kind of leads that you're capturing with it?
So this particular site that we see a screenshot of is a website that we had Agent Locator, which is a web developer company, build for us. Now this particular one is strictly just a buyer's website. So what would happen is this particular website would be advertised on either Google Ads or any kind of social media platform. The link or the Learn It Now button would bring them to this section here where they could enter in the city or town that they want to be looking for a house in, maybe even specify the bedrooms, bathrooms, maybe their price range, and it will bring them to search results of that area. Now, this isn't just search results for our office per se. It's it's all the listings in the city or town that they've specified, even though it may not belong to our brokerage. And as they sift through the particular listings and they're inquiring about more information, there will be a lead capture form that comes up at some point that asks them for questions.
Yeah, fabulous. So I'm showing our attendees right now an example of the lead capture form. So it's asking for my email. One neat thing is that I can actually log in via my Facebook as well. So that's kind of cool. So you talked about you have office listings as well as, non-office. What do you do about the list or the inquiries that you get from listings that are, outside of Chilliwack? Because your office is in Chilliwack. You can't possibly serve the entire province.
So yeah, although we have listings for the entire province, what we end up doing is we kind of refer them out to other offices, other brokerages around our area that we are in constant contact with. So what we ask in return once we give them the lead is that they give us a referral back if anything converts.
Fabulous, and that's good for networking too, because you get to know all the other people in your province.
For sure, and they in return, some of them that do have these online leads, they do the same. They reciprocate that, right?
Beautiful. Okay, so here's a screenshot of your new site that is being developed. Now, can you tell us about why you're having this new site worked on? What is it going to do that the Agent Locator one doesn't do?
So our Agent Locator site used to be a buyer's kind of a selling lead gen combined, and we were finding that it was a little bit confusing for people. And because of the research that we've done, we figured out that people who buy typically only come on there to buy, and we wanted to develop something just for the sellers. Like people want to come and do their research on what brokerage or what agent they want to list it with. So we're going to totally separate the two websites. So this particular one that we're building right now, it's going to target just sellers. It's going to give sellers just information and capture what they want to sell, and in turn, this will be a stronger lead gen for sellers.
Fabulous. Great. Okay, so let's now talk about the quality and the volume of the leads that you're bringing in. So your current website, the Agent Locator site, could you tell me about the quality of them? Would you characterize these leads as strong leads?
Well, so when we came into doing this, I had the mindset of generating as many leads as I could. I was going for more quality over quantity, I guess, if you want to kind of put it into that category. So if you were to put it up against what we're getting from Royal LePage, we would classify these are a tad weaker, because we're trying to capture everyone who's looking for a listing anywhere in BC, versus what Royal LePage is trying to give us, which is a little bit more specific to the agent and the listings from our brokerage.
Fabulous. What about the volume of the leads? Can you speak to that?
So the volume wise, just to give an idea, from the Agent Locator site, we're probably getting anywhere from about 50 to about 65 leads a month. I'm going to assume around there somewhere. And from Royal LePage, I think we're getting about 55. So in turn, we're just getting shy over 100 and some change leads per month for the last 3 or 4 months now. Okay. And we're finding our conversion is about 2%.
Beautiful. Roughly. Beautiful. Now, are you satisfied with this volume of leads from your website, or would you like it to be higher? Is it too high? Yeah.
We'd love it to be higher. I mean, we started a little bit slower because again, we were using it. We'll probably get into it in the next slide here, but we were kind of using it for more of a recruitment tool to give people the ability to generate leads, even though they're not going out and pounding the pavement for them, so to speak. So we would like more. We just need more involvement from our agents, and then we would definitely like to add some more for sure.
Fabulous. Now you said something about these website leads are not as strong as the Royal LePage ones. Have your agents commented on that, or is this just your own observations?
This is just my own observation from going through the data. Just looking at, I've even sat with agents, and I can tell from if it's a Royal LePage lead versus a third-party one, which is in this case Agent Locator, and the Royal LePage one is just more specific. Like they're actually looking for something more specific from the broker's agent versus this Agent Locator site. Whereas if they're coming in, they may or may not already have an agent and they're already looking. Or they're just looking, or they're just perusing, and they have no idea what they're doing. So it's kind of like a catch-all. Okay. So that's how I come to the conclusion that Royal LePage ones may be a little bit stronger.
Okay. So let's talk about, what did you do to prepare, to set up, to integrate your leads? How are you integrating those? How are you adding those into the system?
So the Royal LePage ones obviously come in automatically. Now our Agent Locator ones, we did have them come in automatically at one point, but we just there was just so many of them coming in, and probably a good third of them were just ones that were random and they didn't make any sense whatsoever. So we have a lady that helps us out. She's an office admin girl, and she manually enters these leads that we get from Agent Locators and filtering them out and putting them into Lead Assign so that can get distributed.
Now, does that lead to slower response time? Because I know that response time is the biggest concern with online leads.
She's usually pretty quick about it, and I mean we've tested the theory a few times, and I believe you tested the theory once, and so far so good. I mean, like the volume that's coming in is perfect for her.
I did test it. Yeah, I was being a little sneaky. I tested it, and I can report that I received a response from an agent in less than 5 minutes. So I was very pleased, and they did not know that I was from head office. As far as they knew, I was just some person. So yeah, yeah, I was very pleased how quick that was. Um, okay, so with this manual entry, is that bringing up your costs? Is that taken away from the admin doing other tasks?
No, our admin seems to be very quick at whatever she's doing. So I mean, it doesn't add any it doesn't add any more work on her plate, as far as I can tell, anyways. But I mean, I do caution that if people want to, because like I said, we're getting 100 and somewhat leads, 55 to 65 leads per third party right now, and that's satisfactory for her time and response. But if you get any more than that, we might look into a different method of assigning them, right? Because it's going to get out of hand.
Absolutely. Okay, and let's speak to challenges that you had with this. So I know there was some website limitations.
So our website limitations was the integration of Agent Locator into our lead assign, but upon speaking to a couple of people that know more than I do, we may have that problem solved. So in whatever kind of website that you are developing, and if you want to integrate that into Smart Leads, please make sure that you have all your information so that everything integrates seamlessly, so that you don't have to go back and backtrack.
Absolutely. And I think, everyone that's watching us, I want to let you know that if you are trying to integrate your leads and you're having challenges, to please reach out to myself or our customer care team, and we'll walk you through the steps on how to do that, because we do have good support over here. What about agent training challenges that you told me about?
So before we get into that, just one more last point about the website limitations there.
Yeah.
The website limitations are also limited to whatever province you are operating in, because each province, as I found out, have different rules and regulations that allow you to do certain things with listings. So also do your due diligence in researching what you are able and not able to do, whatever province you belong to.
Absolutely. And then for anyone else who's joining us who may be in BC, I think you know what Mike is talking about. Maybe we can talk about that first and then jump to the agent training.
Okay.
So the designated leads and the BC rules.
So the designated leads, what is designed to specifically go to the listing agent, and that was great when everybody was able to close both ends with or double end, as you would call it, on deals, selling their own listings. Mm-hmm. It gets a little bit trickier these days with the new BC legislation that says that that you can't do that as often, and if you do, it's kind of tricky, basically. So you wouldn't want to do it. So we find a lot of designated leads that are designated to agents. They don't want to accept it. Like, they don't want the hassle of it. Mm-hmm. So that becomes a little bit of a problem. We've discussed it as an office, what they should be doing with those. And we've come to the conclusion that the agent who gets these designated leads assigned to them should still accept them. But it's up to them to do their due diligence of assigning this to somebody that may help them out, whether it be like somebody to work closely with or whatnot. But that's kind of a work in progress still, because people just don't accept them to begin with.
Yeah.
That's kind of our challenge there.
Beautiful. Okay, and then briefly touch upon agent training challenges.
So agent training, it is a little bit of a challenge because we need the kind of buy-in on from the people who think that this is going to work for them in the way that they do business, and training those people also could be a little bit of a challenge. One, they could not be as technically savvy, and in order to use some of these tools, you got to be a little bit savvy when it comes to your phone, maybe your response time, how fast you text, the phone call. It's just a different breed of people, and there's specific things that you need to do right. How often you need to follow up with people, and just do your due diligence. So that's kind of like a habitual thing that you have to teach people, and not everyone is cut out for it.
Absolutely.
So you got to be careful who you integrate into your circle of your team. Basically, I call mine the E team, but you just gotta keep up with the training.
Perfect. Okay, so what advice would you give other offices that are thinking about integrating their own leads into Smart Leads?
I would do my research first. So find out what your true costs are, and true costs, kind of in quotations there, may include, because we have an extra admin girl that can do that for us. So that there may be a cost there for assigning leads for third party stuff. You got to get a website developed from a proper developer, not just somebody that designs pretty websites. They gotta have the ability to integrate this into the back end of Smart Leads. You got to take into account that once this thing's up, you got to be able to market that, whether through Facebook or social media or Google or however you get this particular landing or website out there. You got to pay for that. So when you take that all into account there, you tally up a number, and that's actually your true costs for it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much, Mike. This was really informative, and so Mike's going to hang on for a bit, and then we will do a Q&A with Mike after Todd speaks. We're going to have Todd come up next. But, for everyone who's watching us, if you want to just start thinking about questions that you might have for Mike, you can throw them in the chat right now, or if you want to wait until Todd's finished speaking, then we'll tackle all the questions then. So once again, thank you so much, Mike. It was very informative.
You're welcome.
All right. So now, here we have Todd. So he's our second guest today, and he is the Corporate Development Manager from Royal LePage Atlantic Homestead in St. John's, Newfoundland. So we truly are going coast to coast today with our speakers. He's an experienced sales professional and leader with 16 years of sales consultation experience, 6 of those with management and leadership capacity. And the majority of his career was in the media industry. One of the largest client sectors was within the real estate industry. He enjoys working with teams to develop strategies for future success and establishing meaningful business relationships. Strong customer service, innovation, and delivering results are the core of his business philosophy. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you very much, and hello, everyone.
All right. So, Todd, can you tell us, I understand that you were actually generating leads before Smart Leads came around. So can you tell us why you decided to add your own leads into Smart Leads instead of just dealing with them as you did in the past?
Sure. Originally, through our local site, we would get, we already had the forms on our site where people could request more information. Those would get emailed to the owners and myself as an emailed lead, and then those would be manually farmed out to our agents. We have around 54 agents, and we consider it to be very important to be transparent and make sure everything is delivered fairly. In some cases, when you have such a large group of people, and you hear of one person getting a lead and they get a win, all of a sudden it creates a little bit of confusion if you haven't received one yet and you start questioning. So basically, moving our leads into this type of system that automates the program, it eliminates any ability to play favoritism and all that kind of stuff. It just made things much more transparent and just so all the agents knew that everything was on the up and up.
Beautiful. And then for you as management, you're able to track response time.
Exactly. In the past, like I mentioned to you before, I've been with the company now about 6 months. In the past, the owners basically they said they farmed these out, but unfortunately, after you email them out, you lose that trackability aspect of it, and you also lose the ability to add the referral amount on it as well, if by chance one of these actually converted. So having it in this system, it automatically collects the information. It shows where the lead has gone. It shows the agent who was associated with it. So it allows you to follow up with the agent on a one-on-one basis, as well as ensure that you receive your referral on the actual lead that's dispersed.
Fabulous. So, um, you're using a few different sites. Can you tell us a bit about the sites that you were directing towards Smart Leads?
Sure. Our main site is royallepage.nl.ca. So that's the main site for our local branch, and that's where we get the bulk of our business from. Uh, but we're also integrating in some special projects. We're just recently, I guess, over the past couple months, we've been working with a condominium group. We created a separate website for that program. It was called mysunderacondos.com, and basically all the leads that come through for this building development are actually funneled directly in through the Smart Leads program as well. And all the promotions that we do through our Facebook as well are all linked directly back to our local site, which then draws the leads directly into our reps.
Fabulous. Yeah. So I'm just showing our audience here some screenshots of some of the Facebook ads. And like you said, the Facebook ads are just directing people into your site. Now, the leads that you're capturing, are these buyers or sellers?
It's a combination of both. I'll do separate campaigns. I'll do one campaign on Facebook where it's kind of what's my home worth type thing. So that's attracting your sellers.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is a bit of both. And
Fabulous.
just like what Mike mentioned earlier, it's absolutely crucial that you use a not just a website builder, but an actual developer, because there's certain things you can do within your Facebook promotion that can help attract certain segments. Like with our site, we're able to index, so I can select a certain part of town. I can have a certain, I guess, price range, say between 250 and 350. I could then take a copy of that subsection of our site and actually promote that directly to our Facebook page just to attract certain segments. So I can do a promotion for a 50 plus group. I can do a promotion for a first time home buyers. Do a promotion for all just key lifestyles. So it's not just one big blanket.
Fabulous. Now, how about the quality and the volume of your broker leads? So specifically, what's the quality of your website leads like? Would you characterize them as strong?
Yes, most definitely. Our local site leads tend to be just as strong or stronger than what we received through Roll a Page nationally.
Great.
With our site, we did optimize it for lead generation. However, we didn't basically put any. I guess you don't actually have to enter your information to view anything.
Mm-hmm.
So in some cases, if you, I know we have a team within our group, the Holla group. They're big on lead generation, so that's what they specialize. And so they have a separate site that attracts you to the site. But to get more information, it's a hard wall where you got to put your information in. So in that case, they're getting a high volume of leads, where our site was for our entire operation of 55 to 57 agents. We didn't want to have that steadfast wall. So basically, you can shop around and look at what you want through our website, and then if you're interested, then you enter your information in. So for the most part, you're not getting people basically putting in bogus information just to get to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game that a lot of people play is, well, what do you want more? Do you want quality or do you want volume? And it's can be a bit of a numbers game sometimes. And so speaking of numbers, what do you know the numbers, like average what you're getting from your website leads per month?
For sure, yep. So for our local website, I have that separated into distributed and designated, same as we do for the nationally provided, and it's almost double the amount of leads that we've received since the program has started. For the distributed leads on that are already part of the program, we're receiving about 45 to 50 per month. For the broker distributed leads, we're about 35 to 40. So it's almost double the amount of leads that we've received on the distributed side, which is the best opportunity for us to make money as well because of the referrals.
Absolutely, because you're charging the same referral fee for your website leads as you do for the Royal LePage leads.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And are you doing anything to try to increase your website volume leads, or are you happy with this volume?
I definitely want to increase the amount of leads that we have coming through. basically doing a combination of Facebook advertising, as well as we're doing some programmatic advertising as well on that's all digital advertising. However, I would like to add I guess a secondary source, and we're contemplating looking into some third parties. So I want to get the best of both worlds. I want to have our local website, which is basically open; people can look around without any real forms that you have to pass. But I'd also like to create a secondary version, which is kind of like your higher business development, and then drive all the leads into this program as well. So we're currently in the I guess the exploring category, trying to find the proper provider and going from there.
Fabulous. Now, what did you do to prepare so to get ready to add your leads to Smart Leads?
Basically, we met with I guess a couple of our key agents, and we just basically ripped our website apart and said, what do we like, what do we don't like, what can we do better. And then we also looked at the angle of business development, like what can we do to make this easier, a little bit more functional for basically home searchers to connect with us. And in any cases where a home searcher has to make more than 1 or 2 clicks, your chance of losing them is pretty easy. So you want to make sure you have everything kind of compartmentalized. So if you have somebody that's thinking about selling their home, you can have a quick link with what's my home worth. If you have somebody who's only interested in new construction, we have a separate link for that. If you have, I guess, listings, just the latest listings on the market, we had a section for that. So we really drilled down and overanalyzed our website, figured out the best, I guess, the best improvements that we could make, and then we sat down with our web designer and just basically laid out what we wanted, and then he confirmed basically all the different things that we could complete, which was pretty close to almost 100%.
Fabulous. Now, what kind of challenges have you experienced with broker leads and just leads in general?
In the very beginning, we had basically every lead that came through our broker site feed through the Smart Lead system, which was great. It really greatly increased our traffic. However, the traditional designated leads, that's leads that are on our actual agents' properties directly, those on our local site were actually getting sent out to the general population. So if one of our agents, pretend I'm an agent, my name is Todd Foote. If I have 6 or 7 properties on our site, if somebody looked for information on any one of those sites, that could go directly to anybody that's part of the actual program.
Yeah. So, that is a challenge. Now, I will let our viewers know that there is a solution to this. So this is something that, and LeadUssign is going to be reaching out to Todd to help him out, because there is a way to tag website designated leads to ensure that they go to the listing agent. It's a bit of an advanced functionality. So definitely anyone that's interested in doing that, reach out to us and I can hook you up with tech help, because your solution was just to remove those agent leads from the pool, right?
Yes, exactly. Just on a temporary basis until we manage to, I guess, coordinate with our web developer as well as the Smart Leads crew. We temporarily basically had all those leads that are on the agent's own properties sent directly to them.
Absolutely. And then, okay, so now let's move along to your advice for other offices.
I guess the number one thing that you want to look at is your actual website. Make sure your website is up to date, and make sure it's extremely user friendly and optimized for lead capture. That's the number one thing. And what I'd suggest for that is actually to gather a couple of your more digital savvy agents within a group and use them as your focus group when discussing what you can do to make your website better. So that would be the first step. With a website, indexing is absolutely important, especially if you want to do certain types of promos for certain types of lifestyles, like I mentioned, the 50 plus and so on and so forth. There you can actually tailor your Facebook ads and demographics. So you can create a demographic and an ad style for every segment, which is great. I find just blanketing general real estate promos it works good, but if you can actually drill down to the segment and actually capture the interest of your core audience, your results will be better.
Beautiful.
Yep. But the right agents obviously is extremely important. When we started, we basically threw it out to all of our agents on a referral basis, which was a great entry point. That was a great test. However, we found that too many agents wanted to take part of the program. So when you have a large number of agents, of course, it can get a little bit hard to manage on a day-to-day basis. I spoke to a couple of other broker managers, and they basically said, the optimal amount is probably anywhere from 10 to 20. So our plan moving forward is to develop a system where there will be a fee per lead as well as a referral on top of it as well. We just haven't completely finalized what that's going to look like yet.
Fabulous. And then you told me something about, knowing your numbers. So what do you mean by that? Know your numbers.
Knowing your numbers, basically analyzing the statistics that are provided by the actual dashboard themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I update ours on a daily basis. I make it a daily habit to go in there and update and see what our results are, and make sure that which agents are actually receiving and which are not. So then you can use that as a conversation piece.
Beautiful.
So if I have an agent who's been fed like 12 leads and they haven't responded to any whatsoever, then it's a point of conversation. Well, do you even want to be on this program? Because obviously you're not actively engaged. So.
Absolutely. And that's such a crucial step in the agent coaching and management of the program. Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you. That's all the questions that I have for Todd, but we are going to hold for a few moments. We have time for some questions. So please, to our attendees, put your questions in the chat. If you would like to direct a question to a specific speaker, please include their name in your question. Or if you just have a general question, just throw it out there and either Todd or Mike will reply to you. After the Q&A, I will do a little bit of a presentation about the technical information. So for your questions, make sure that they're not technical in nature, just more about what Mike and Todd are doing at their office with their own leads and how things are working out. And, we'll hang on for a few moments. It's interesting with these the chat Q&As. I always know that the presentation is going really well when there are very few questions, because it means that we probably have answered them thoroughly in our presentation so far. I don't see any questions coming in just yet. So I'm assuming that means we were so thorough with the Q&A that maybe that answered everything that people were wondering about. So, but we will hang on for a few more moments and see. Now, I will put up for our audience as well Mike's information and Todd's contact information. So if if you're someone who's watching this as a recording, or if maybe you just want to ask them some questions direct, get some advice, throw around some ideas, this is their contact info. Now, I see here a question that has come in. So this is directed at both Todd and Mike, so either one of you can respond. Other than the agent locator site, which Mike is using, have either of you used third-party leads? And if so, what are they and how do they convert? And that is from Desmond von Teichmann.
We're actually exploring other third-party options. Speaking to a number of teams as well as broker managers, just to see what other groups are using. But we're definitely going to be adding a third-party group, I'd say by September or October this year, and we're going to use that as our way of changing our system. So then we can then charge on a per charge per lead. So we're going to bump it up, and we're going to use that as our driving force to kind of alter our program moving forward.
Fabulous. Mike, have you explored other sites other than Agent Locator?
I have. We have three that we're looking into using. Now the thing is, we already have agents in our office that have used like these different ones, and we're just kind of monitoring how it kind of converts first before we kind of put ourselves into that position. But that is something that we want to do by the beginning of next year, is integrate another couple third-party people into the mix too, so that we can do exactly what Todd says. That way we can have another method of generating revenue.
Absolutely. And for the people joining us, if anyone that is joining us has used third-party lead sites, and if you have some that you want to recommend, please feel free to put them in the chat, because I think all of us could use the advice. I know there are plenty of third-party lead sites, and their prices range so greatly. And so there's a lot to look into, and it can be a little intense trying to investigate all of them. So let's see. Desmond says, thank you, guys. I am always looking for additional lead feeds for the agents. So let's see. I don't see other questions coming in. I will have to let everyone know that our guests are going to have to run. They'll be leaving us in just a few more moments. So, if you have any burning questions that you want to get out, you can throw them in the chat right now. But otherwise, as I said, Mike and Todd have been generous enough to say that they are willing to chat with any of you offline. So if you want to send them an email or give them a call to talk about how things are going, if you want to have a one-on-one, they're here to support and just, let you know how things are working out. So I think with time is of an essence, we have 15 minutes remaining. So I am going to move into the sort of technical part. But before I do that, I want to thank Todd and Mike for being here. It's always a pleasure when we can connect with people in our network, and especially our country is so diverse that it's nice to have people literally from coast to coast joining us from, well, I wouldn't say small towns, but medium-sized cities, I guess, would be applicable. And thank you, Todd. Thank you, Mike, so much for joining us.
You're welcome. And
thank you very much.
Have a good time with the rest of the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Great. Okay, so like I said, everyone, you can note their contact info, and everyone that's watching this as a recording, definitely Mike and Todd are here for you if you want to reach out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, so a bit of information, because you may have been watching this and thinking, well, how do I do this? So I'm just going to go over this quickly, but don't worry. If you're interested in doing this, I really encourage you to not do it on your own. I want you to reach out to customer care. They can help walk you through it. So I'm going to post their info in the final slide. But, long story short, you can integrate social media as well as website leads into your smart leads. The process is similar, but slightly different. So I'm going to take some time to go over both. So with the website lead integration, it's actually quite easy. The most important part is to ensure that your website has a fillable form that is dedicated to a specific email address. Now, once you are certain that your website has a fillable form that goes to a specific email address, you simply find your email endpoint and have the leads from your site directed to the endpoint. Now, to find your email endpoint, you have to log into your smart leads. So you go to the managing tab, customize smart leads. Then you go to your company setting and general. And then if you scroll down, you'll see a thing that says email endpoints. And like Todd said he did, he literally just copied his email endpoint, sent it to his web developer and said, send my leads to this. It's that easy. Now, in terms of your form, this is sort of an example of a form that you want to use on your office website. And I'll be honest, this form is a little long. So we know that the more you ask, the lower your numbers will be. And so, you might want to do like Todd did and kind of looked at, well, what's more important, volume, or do I want it to be really specific? The more questions you ask, the more specific the lead will be. And potentially stronger. The fewer questions you ask, the more detail or the more volume you will get. So it's up to you to decide. But really, the only things that you must have is the name and the email. Everything after that is kind of gravy and icing on the cake. Now, if you're going to do something with the questions comment section here, so here I would like to find out more about this property. You know, it's best to use pre-filled choices. And the reason for that is it's going to allow you to tag the leads well. So you don't necessarily need to tag the leads from your website leads. You can just have them go round robin through your available agents. But if for whatever reason you want to tag them, maybe you want to have one agent that is all about viewings, for example. Well, you could make something like this where the content is, I would like to set up a viewing. So you would make a tag viewing and assign it to that agent. What's important to keep in mind is that Smart Leads is going to analyze the information from the email that is sent. So therefore, the tags made should always relate directly to the content that of the email that people are sending. Okay, so social media integration, it's basically the same as the website integration because your social media ad will simply be directing people to your website or a specific landing page that you have made to create, that you have created to capture the leads. Because of this, before you do anything, you need to make sure that you have a landing page or a website to direct your leads to. Then you just simply follow the steps outlined on this slide. I do want to mention that Learning Services did a great webinar all about Facebook ads. So if you're new to the whole social media ad thing, I strongly suggest that you have a look at their Facebook ad webinar. You can find that on the RLP network under the training tab and then building your tech toolkit and then just filter by Facebook. Now, Mike was talking about manual leads, and he was saying how his admin scrubs them in a sense before they go to the agent. So this is the manual lead form. And you find this by going into your Smart Leads and you go to your leads area, and there is a section where you click add a lead. And this is where you would manually enter or have your admin enter the lead information. Now, you'll notice that there is a field that says first agent to send the lead to. Now, if you put an agent's name in this field, one thing that's important to keep in mind is that the system will call that a designated lead, and it will follow your designated leads routing rules. So if you have a 1-day expiry time limit set for designated leads, it will follow that 1-day expiry time limit. If you have designated leads only going to the identified agent, it will follow those rules. Now, if you don't put a name in this first agent field, and you don't have to, the lead will be labeled as a broker lead. But it will follow the distributed lead rules and timing. So if your distributed leads have a 5-minute time limit before it's offered to the next agent, it will follow those timing routing rules, but it will be labeled as a broker lead in that you will only be charged the 82 cents. So even though it's going to follow the distributed leads routing rules and timing, you will not be charged for a distributed lead. You will be charged as a broker lead. Yeah, and then finally, there is a tag section here. So if you want to add in tags, for example, maybe it is about a commercial listing or something like that, you could throw that in there. And if you have an agent with commercial tag applied to them, then it would obviously go to that agent. Now, as I said before, you know, we have technical support here. So our customer care team is your first line for technical support. They're here for all of your Royal LePage tools, including Smart Leads and your setup. I'm here to help you with your operations. So if you want to know about strategies, you want to talk about conversion rates, that kind of thing. And I also want to point out that I have put on here contact information for Melanie Billing. She is our lead assign contact. This Melanie is fabulous. She's going to help you. So, if you have sort of deep needs, because our customer care team does have limitations in that there's just certain things that they cannot access, things that are only accessible on the lead assign side. I think for integrating the broker leads, if you have complex questions, if you're not sure if your website is applicable, I'm going to encourage you to reach out to Melanie. She will definitely help you out and help you get all set up. So I'm going to hang out here for a few more minutes. We have 5 minutes remaining on the clock, so timing is working out fabulous. If you have any questions for me in terms of integrating your own leads into Smart Leads, any operational type questions, I'll hang out for another 5 minutes and then I'll see what we can do. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. It was really fun for me to have guest speakers. And I hope that this little webinar is going to encourage a lot more people to integrate your own leads into Smart Leads, because it really is a great opportunity to increase your volume and also increase your return on investment, because the cost is less than other options. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything come in. So I'm assuming that means that the presentation was so thorough. All of your questions have been answered. You enjoyed it, and now you're gonna, do a little website assessment. Have a look at your site, figure out what needs to be tweaked, how you can format your landing pages and your lead capture forms in a way that's going to work really good with our system. And then, if your site is all set and you think you're ready to get started, then start integrating your leads. If you need a hand, like I said, the first line of defense is always customer care. But if you feel like your needs are a little more complex, if it's something a little more advanced, then I will encourage you to reach out to Melanie. She is here to help as well. And then myself, I am always here for you too. So don't be a stranger. Give me a call, send me an email, let me know. And also, let me know what you would like to see for future webinars for the brokers. I will be doing one more before the year is over in a few months from now. So let me know if you have ideas or suggestions about what you would like for our next one. And you will all get this emailed. Everyone who registered, I will email you a link with the recording of this webinar so you can watch it over and over again. It will also be parked on the RLP network on the Managing tab under Smart Leads, along with all of the other broker tools and resources. Thank you and have a great day.